this is one of the ones, not favorite. I think a better way of saying it is one of the ones that I feel answers a lot of the popular questions about socialism, and that's private property ownership. So that's why I like this video. So let's let that play, and then let's get to it. I'm going to restart it here. Pause it. All right, let's go.
Now, I can't actually see you, given that this is YouTube and all. So you could be wearing a tuxedo, or you could be wearing nothing at all. Stupid, sexy Flanders. But bear with me on this one, so we can play out this scenario. I'm going to assume that you, my very attractive friend, are wearing a hat. But not just any hat. The most beautiful hat I've ever seen. Naturally, I'm extremely jealous and want one of my own. Nice hat, I tell you. How much are you going to sell it to me for? To which you respond, very reasonably, like a normal person would. Beck off, Paul. This is my personal property. I'm not selling this. This hat is to be used, not exchanged. Take that commodity trade nonsense elsewhere. As you can imagine, I'm understandably heartbroken at having been shut down like that, and I run home with my tail between my legs. All dreams of ever owning such a beautiful hat like that myself, having been crushed by your cruel, cruel words. But on the way back, I pass by a shop and I see that very same beautiful hat in the window. Excited, I run inside and I pick it up. But the shop owner is alarmed and sternly warns me, "Put that hat down. It's the company's private property. If you want it, you're going to have to pay for it." Now, naturally, I'm baffled. I was assured that this beautiful hat was personal property that was meant to be used. Now I'm being told that it's private property, that if I want access to its warm embrace, then I'm going to have to exchange money for it. How can it be that the purpose of this beautiful hat for you is use, while for the shop owner its purpose is exchange? That it can be either personal property or private property depending on who owns it and what they're doing with it. Well, let's get to the bottom of this. Welcome to Socialism 101, a series designed to help educate people with no prior knowledge on the basics of socialism and communism from an explicitly Marxist-Leninist and Marxist-Leninist-Maoist perspective, with short and hopefully easily digestible videos. If this sounds interesting to you, then go ahead and hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell below. So we've run into a little bit of difficulty here. This beautiful hat seems to be both personal property and private property. It has use value in its usefulness as a protector of my head against the cruelty of the wind and the rain, but it also has exchange value in that it can be exchanged for a certain price on the market. Well, in fact, this is one of the most basic building blocks of the capitalist system, the commodity. And the key feature of commodities is that they possess both use value and exchange value. They can be both personal property and private property. However, they're produced primarily for exchange as private property to make profits for capitalists, and secondarily produced for use to become personal property. This goes for all commodities produced under the capitalist mode of production, from food to clothes to, you guessed it, Nintendo. If you look at the place you're living right now, whether that's an apartment, a house, or anything else, for you this has use value or usefulness. For you, it's shelter. It keeps you warm, protected. You get to relax with friends and family, get drunk, talk socialism, etc. But your home likely wasn't created primarily for that purpose. It was created primarily to be the private property of the bourgeoisie that would be exchanged and make them more money. Okay, so now we can see that there's a fundamental difference emerging between...
So, in other words, the homes are built to sell, not homes are... This is why we have homeless. Because if we're building homes for use, where we be building homes for the people who need a home. Use. Where we have now corporations or, capitalists are building homes to exchange for money. This is why they sit empty while we have unhoused people still being unhoused.
Between how the working class proletariat engages with personal property, your home is a place to live, and how the capitalist bourgeoisie engages with private property, that home they acquired solely to make profit. In fact, let's take a moment to clearly map out these differences. In the last video, we talked a little bit about labour power. Now this is also a commodity in that it possesses both use value in its ability to produce, as well as exchange value as capitalists purchase it from us for a certain price in the forms of wages and salaries. For most working class people, we sell our labour power, or commodity, C, to bosses. In return for this, our bosses give us a little bit of money, M. We then take this money that we receive from our wage or salary and use that to purchase commodities, C, for us to use, like food, clothes, toothbrushes, etc. This is the CMC circuit that the working class engages in. We have our commodity, labor power, that we sell for money, and with that money we purchase more commodities, CMC. Capitalists, on the other hand, operate not just on a CMC circuit, but on an inverted MCM circuit. The capitalist circuit begins with money, M, which they use to purchase commodities, C, primarily labor power, in order to get back more money, M. And importantly, that final M includes the initial sum of money invested plus profit that has been generated through labor power. We can signify the presence of this added profit with M prime. Capitalists can then take this profit and use it to purchase more commodities, to get even more profit, to purchase even more commodities, and so on and so on. Okay, take a moment to give yourself an L pat on the back because you've just learned the general formula of capital, MCM. Now, this is the simplified version of the capitalist circuit. There are a few more steps in between that we'll return to in a later video. But we can already see from this that the proletariat on the CMC circuit and the bourgeoisie on the MCM circuit interact quite differently with property. The proletariat acquires personal property exclusively for us to use. The bourgeoisie acquires private property for exchange in order to make profits. Communists seek to abolish private property, not personal property. We seek to abolish exchange value and instead produce entirely for use. To, as the old saying goes.
So that's very key to understanding when people are talking about private property. You're going to take my toothbrush. No, we are looking to get rid of exchange value, not use. So that has nothing to do with your possessions. We should be producing for the use of people, not producing in order to sell for profit. That is the concept. So let's continue.
Abolish the commodity form. Now, onto the ever-pressing question of toothbrushes. Yes, you get to keep your feckin' toothbrush for personal use. But if there are capitalists who are producing them for profit, for exchange, then you better believe that we're going to hunt them down and redistribute those toothbrushes for the good of the people. The people's toothbrushes. Today we've looked at the differences between personal property and private property. As a general rule, personal property is that property that we possess in order to use value. Private property, on the other hand, is property that's possessed for the purpose of making profits, exchange value.
So that, to me, this is one of the clearest, concise, to the point definitions, because really I have found that this has been the biggest issue of misunderstanding of socialism is private property versus personal property. And this is the one that I feel capitalists exploit as the part as being misunderstood. You have to understand from the perspective. So when capitalists are saying, oh, they want to abolish private property, what are they talking about? They're talking about they're abolishing their ability to make profit, exchange value. We're not abolishing anything for the proletariat. But the way they frame it, they want you to think that somebody's going to come in a red suit and take your toothbrush and take your, everything in your house. That's use value. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about abolishing exchange value.